Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of the House of Jazz. So, listen, y'all. I know you're probably wondering, how did we get here? How did we get here? Listen, I don't, I don't even know. I really don't know how I got here. But honestly, we got to this point because I got fired. I got fired from what I thought was my dream job. So, if you aren't familiar, my background is in education, teaching, coaching, training, facilitating, aka the gift of communication, right? So, after leaving the classroom, I actually went into entrepreneurship full time. I used to be a full blown fitness trainer, personal training, group training. I had a really, really, really good online program that served moms that was called Black Fitness Mommy. We actually coined the actual service and we named it the Perfect Mommy Mix. So shout out to all of my ladies that was a part of the Perfect Mommy Mix. Like we were in there helping women lose 13, 14, 21 pounds, 22 pounds in 21 days, and they did not have to eat like rabbits. But that's not even why we're here. But I dived into that full time, and then in it was like 2020, 2019 or so, right before COVID hit, and we were doing well until COVID hit. And it sent me into a place where I had to pivot. And then here is where it gets crazy because when I go back and I think about these stories, I realize how powerful my words are. How powerful my words are, right? There is power in the tongue. So I want you guys to take that away. And I'm going somewhere with this, right? So COVID hit and I went back into the classroom because I was just nervous and scared because there was more money leaving out than it was coming in. And instead of being in a place to where I could really, truly, and fully trust God to do what He was going to do, I actually manifested myself back into the place that I did not want to be, which was the classroom, right? So I went back into the classroom in 2020, I think the end of 2020, and I went back as a special education teacher. And though I love special education, I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to do what I need to do for my family. So that's what I did. Went back into the classroom, and that was a revelation to me from God that listen, when you don't trust me and you move on your own accord, I'm going to allow for what's going to happen, right? So he allowed me to go back in, but he didn't allow me to be there without me learning something. And what I learned in that time was that if I didn't trust him, he would give me what I was asking for. I actually manifested myself back into the classroom. But in that time, he put me in a position where I was open enough to listen, hear, and see and understand why I was there. And that was actually a time where I needed to rehear my voice. That was actually a time where God put me in the classroom to then go out and start that gift that he gave me, start communicating again. And yes, it started with the students that were in my class, but then it trickled down to my coworkers. And then it gave me another sense of confidence to me that I felt like I had lost. So went into the classroom and left because I was like, I didn't want to be here anyways. Went into the classroom, left, ran into a similar situation after I had my third son, Kingston. Went into a similar situation and I was kind of forced in my mind to go back into the classroom. But this time I went back as a technology instructor because my highest degree of education was a specialist in instructional technology. So I guess by trade, I'm an instructional technologist. So I went back in as a technology teacher. But when I was there, I was just like, something is not right. I did not feel fulfilled. I felt like I was doing just the next thing. And there was this pulling and this tugging. But I had developed this thought process that I couldn't really be a real entrepreneur if I wasn't a full time entrepreneur, right? I felt like, or I had been conditioned to believe that I could not run my business and be legit and also have a job. Okay, so I know y'all done heard the gurus tell you out here just leave all the boats, burn them, burn the bridges, and you got to go out here and you're going to do it, right? Either you sink or you swim. let me hear. Listen, I'm here to tell you that ain't necessarily true. You can be a full-blown entrepreneur and running a successful business and also have a job. So when I got over that notion, I told myself, I said, okay, all right, well, me and God had a conversation, and I was like, if I am going to have a job, I need something where I'm going to be able to teach, coach, and train. I love education. I love being around educators. I love being around students. I love being in that area. I love instructional technology. And I also wanted to be able to have my own flexibility, to have my time, to be able to move when I needed to move, especially if my kids needed me or if they needed to stay home sick, or if I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. If I wanted to take myself out to brunch, if I wanted to go explore a conference, if I just wanted to go do some things that I never had the chance to do because I was always stuck in somebody's brick and mortar. I was like, God, I'm good. I'm okay. But this is the job I need if I'm going to have a job, right? So here's what happened. A little while after I said that to myself, I kept going to my job. I will tell you about that last job in another episode because it was crazy. It was crazy. I could barely walk. Remind me in the comments that I need to give you another episode on the time that I started working and I could barely walk. But nonetheless, so a little while after that, I had a friend to reach out to me that I had already expressed that I wanted to, leave the classroom again, but this is what I needed. So he sent me this job, right? He sent me this job and he said, hey, friend, I'm an ambassador for this particular company. I heard that they're hiring. You should look at it. You should look into it. And I clicked and I looked into it and I was like, oh my God, now I got to update my resume. I got to do this and I got to do that. And I was in a funk. Like I was in a big, big funk. And at that time, I was like, I started updating my resume and I realized I didn't want to do it. I did not want to update the resume. I wanted to get out of the classroom, but I did not want to update my resume. I did not want to go through that, tug and pull and interviews and this, that, and the other. So I just shunned it off. Also, at this time, I'm a part of this elite group of educators, and we focus on pretty much getting our thoughts, our feelings, and our perspectives out there. And in this group, there was another gentleman that came in, and this is probably like 2 days apart. Another gentleman that came in, and he was like, hey guys, my company is hiring for this position. It was the same exact position that my friend had sent me, but they don't know each other. So, long story short, I went ahead and said, hey, this is a sign from God. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to apply. Apply. They hit me back immediately. They asked me for a video explaining what it would be like to work at that company, or if I was ran into a teacher and how would I explain this particular thing to the teacher. And I said, baby, listen, you ain't said nothing but a word because your girl is a video girl. I make videos. That is what I do. And that's how my personality comes through. So I went home on my lunch break, made this video in my closet. Well, I came out the closet. Nevertheless, I can just tag the whole, yeah, I can let y'all see a little bit later. But anyways, I actually went home, recorded the video, sent it in, got my next few videos, my next few interviews, and boom, got hired. Baby, when I tell you that was my dream job. That was my dream job. I was teaching, coaching, training educators. It was totally remote. The pay was decent and I got to travel. And the other thing about this was at the beginning of 22. And 2021, I told myself that I was going to travel more. I told myself I was going to travel more. I even bought me more luggage. And I kept saying everything. I kept saying at the end of 2021, 2022 gonna be lit, but I'm not gonna wait to light this up. And that's what I did. And so I got hired, and I immediately, when I came onto the company, my first stop was Florida. And I traveled probably every month or every other month in 2022 and did really, really well. And there was an opportunity for a promotion, got promoted, and in that promotion was doing what I thought that needed to be done. Long story short, this is even better because this is a sales position now, and now have the opportunity to make commission on top of everything else. It was like, I still get my freedom, still get my time. I wanted to learn sales. And so that's another way. Words are powerful because I told myself that's what I wanted to do. And the opportunity came and it presented itself and I took it. So was in this position for 10 months. And there's a lot of ins and outs in that. But what ended up happening is I had 1 week started and I had to take Monday and Tuesday off. And my boss, my new boss, hit me up in the email. I was like, hey, can we have your one on one when you get back on Wednesday? Absolutely. Had my one on one. I'm there. He asked about me and just being very genuine. And then next thing I know, they was like, yeah, so we no longer need your services. We're making some changes in the company. I'm like, whoa. Say what now? You're doing what? Yeah, we no longer need your services in this area. And it devastated me. It devastated me. And I think it kind of like crushed me a little bit because I wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting it. And we kind of had some conversations back and forth. And by that Friday, they was like, no, we no longer need your services. And this is it. And that's that. And I cried. I cried. I boohooed. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got 3 children. And also at this time, I'm currently going through a separation. So the soon to be ex is not even in the home. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? But even in that moment, when I took the opportunity to let myself purge my tears, to let myself purge my feelings, to let myself feel the feels and then go through them and tapped in with my therapist, I realized that I wasn't happy. I had been unhappy for a while, but I was also trying to be very responsible. I was trying to be that responsible adult. I was trying to be and keep myself in a place where I could take care of my children. I had started to deny what I knew that my heart had been telling me. Like God had been telling me to show up. He had been telling me to share. He had been telling me that this is not where I really want for you to be. But again, I knew these were things that you had to go through. And I didn't listen and I didn't move when I know he told me to move because I was afraid. I was afraid of the unknown. And so God just said one day, okay, girl, you're not going to do it. I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to do it for you. And I know it was God because nothing about the situation made sense. Nothing about how this happened made sense. But one thing that I do know is even when they told me that it was over, there was a sense of calm inside of me, but I was afraid of the calm that I felt because I was like, you can't be this. You're getting fired, girl. That's it. No income coming in. You're getting fired. But now that's kind of like how we're here. Got a little time on my hands. And I'm actually following the insight that I'm getting. I'm being obedient is what I'm trying to say. And I am sharing this story. So there's so much more that I have to get out there. We're going to talk about that. We're going to unpack. But I thought it was very important for you to kind of get a glimpse into how we got here. And we got here at the House of Jazz because Jazz got fired for her first time. So if you enjoyed this episode, if anything about this episode resonated with you or you have any more questions, make sure that you go ahead, comment below. Don't forget to like and share my stuff, right? So until we meet again, we'll chat soon. Peace. Bye.